Welcome to Pause for Peace with me, Pastor Jule. This podcast is being released on October 13th, and for many around the Middle Tennessee area, in colleges and also in the educational system, K through 12, people are getting a chance to have a little break. We're a couple weeks into the season of fall, this beautiful autumn time when we're traditionally waiting for the leaves to turn colors, though with all of the turbulent weather that's been taking place this summer and continues to take place around the whole southeastern region. Who knows if we're going to get those beautiful fall leaves or if the leaves are just going to release and remind us that sometimes things are way out of our control. If you've been able to have a fall break, I hope it has been a breather for you, just a step back from the routine schedule of the year, from all of the responsibilities and demands that come with being a part of a school system, whether you're a teacher or you're on staff at a school system or you're a parent or you are a student yourself. I hope you have had a chance or will have a chance to just get a little breather. One thing I've been doing in these last couple of weeks is rereading my sabbatical journals. 2 years ago when I was able to be away, and my first sabbatical in over 25 years of ministry, when I was able to take a break for about a 3-month time period, something that pastors in the Presbyterian Church USA are supposed to be doing every 6 to 7 years, 6 to 8 years max. But it was my first opportunity to be on sabbatical just because of the way my ministry has unfolded. And my sabbatical was actually bookend, if you will, with my mother passing away just a few weeks before my sabbatical was to begin, and my father passing away actually on October 13th, the date this podcast is being released. And so I'm reading through these journals, and in part to remember those experiences I had, being able to be present with them and actually holding space for them and literally in charge of my father's physical care those last couple of weeks, and especially those last couple of nights of his life when I was every 2 hours getting up to having to give him medicine as he was in hospice care, trying to ease that transition for him. And I'm reading through them as well because it was an amazing experience. My sabbatical was an amazing break, an incredible breather to truly put down all of the responsibilities of my work life, of ministry, and be able to be on this amazing, holy global trek that Hillwood, Presbyterian, and myself had a chance to be a part of, because I was able to trek around the globe while Hillwood trekked around the local area, experiencing the gift of hospitality. And we were able to do that because we were the recipients of a Lilly Foundation, Inc. grant for clergy renewal and for ministry renewal for myself and also for the congregation. And the fruits of those experiences have been unfolding these last couple of years. It's incredible to me to see the way that God continues to open our hearts further and to welcome whatever comes. It is a deep, deep experience of trust in new life, always burgeoning forth. And it is really an incredible journey of being able to meet a whole variety of people, being able to be intentionally partnering with all sorts of folks in the local community that we may not have been open to partnering with just a few years ago. So I'm reading through these sabbatical journals and I'm reliving my holy global trek and the places I was able to visit and these amazing experiences and people I had an opportunity to meet. And I'm also reading through these sabbatical journals when I am literally sitting at my mother's bedside, at my Father's bedside, watching and waiting for them to take their last breath, to inhale and to exhale for one last time. If you have ever been with anyone, but especially a loved one, as that process is unfolding, you know that there are times when you think, this must be it, this must be it. There's no way they can be about to take another inhale, and then it comes. And this process can go on for days. And depending on the dying process, the way the physical body is being released and the soul is heading forth on this amazing journey, it can take weeks, and it can be a time when the body is just shutting down. And if you ever have the opportunity to be a part of caring for your loved one as they are under the care of hospice, this way that kind of is knowledgeable about this path of the final letting go of the physical form here on earth, and that immense trust, not only for the person who is dying, but for the people who are left behind, the immense trust that when that last exhale comes, there will be a glorious adventure ahead, a resurrected life for the soul of this being. This is the promise that we trust in as those who follow the way of Christ. This is what we believe took place when his own body was brutally murdered in crucifixion, only to once again be re-inhabited. This way that resurrected life comes again and again and again. And for those with eyes to see and hearts to believe, it is such a comfort. But it is also incredibly challenging to watch that process. And it's totally individual for every person, the process of inhaling and exhaling for that final time. All of it has me thinking about the breath and how incredibly important our breath is. In the first story of Holy Scriptures in the Judeo-Christian tradition, we hear about Yahweh. These first two stories in Genesis 1 and 2, we hear these experiences of trying to describe, like, how did everything come to be? How did there come to be a world? How did there come to be us? Who is God? And what is our role in all of it? And our ancient faith ancestors provided these stories for us, these understandings of how it all came to be in what's called the creation stories of Genesis 1 and 2. And in one of those stories, we hear about the Holy One, Yahweh, breathing life into matter, into physical form, literally breathing spirit into physical form so that these human beings became animated and lived and moved and had their being in this beautiful world that we all have an opportunity to be in. And so the breath itself is a way to be reminded of our connection with God, with the holy. The breath itself is a gift. The ability to be able to literally take a breather is a way that we immediately have an opportunity to come back into right relationship with God. I suspect you are like me, and we may not pay enough attention to our breath throughout the day. But I hope you are like me, and that you are somebody who is trying. You are seeking to be on this path of being better aligned, body and soul, with who you are, not only in the physical form, but who you are as a spiritual being. And that our breath can be one practice to bring us back to that immediate integration of full self, of these seemingly very different very opposite physical matter and spiritual flow, that this energetic being that we are, that the breath can reunite us, can, even in some spiritual circles we say, can bring back together the holy opposites and allow for this beautiful marriage of these two very different things, the physical, tangible matter that we are, and this spiritual flow, this breath, this energy, this love that we are, that is within us, and that is the very presence or image of God that is within. So our practice for today is to breathe. And we've done a little breath practice before, and I always invite us to return to our breath, especially when we find ourselves distracted, when we find ourselves anxious, when we find ourselves fearful. But in our practices in Pause for Peace, the breath is the quickest way to get us back centered. And if you take a breath and you still don't feel centered, number one, let's make sure we are taking our breath correctly, that we are breathing from deep in our diaphragm, deep in our belly, and we are breathing out and we are breathing in. We don't breathe up and down. When we breathe up and down, we're going to feel constricted. We're going to feel more anxiety and more fear, and our shoulders are going to go up towards our ears. But when we are truly breathing this breath of life, this gift from God, breathing in and out, deep from the belly, all the way out, this is a way that we immediately come back into right relationship with God. Whether you even know that God lives within you or not, and in all things, this is a way for us to come back into integration. The other thing I want to say about breathing before we go about this practice is that I have had a chance to be in a breathwork class, and one of the tips that was shared is that if we are feeling blocked in our breathing, or if we are truly not able to breathe from down deep in our belly, one of the best ways to release that block actually is to get on your belly, lay down flat on your belly, and seek to breathe from your belly, which will be an experience of literally being like raised off the floor from your belly as you breathe in and out and in and out. This is a way that the blocks within can be released. So if you're having trouble with getting that deep breathing going, you might want to try that practice. And if you're still having trouble after that, you might want to reach out and let's talk, let's figure something out. Let's see if there might need to be a breath practice we need to get you in on a regular basis. What else can we say about breathing? Just how important it is. And, one deep cleansing breath, especially the way it's all put together. We're put together in such a way that when we take that deep belly breath and we hold it, if we can even hold it for a second or two longer than we have taken that deep belly breath in, and then release it very slowly, our parasympathetic nervous system, an aspect of our nervous system, actually wakes up and goes online in a whole different way. And so this is just such a gift of how our nervous system itself is dependent upon the way that we breathe, and that we breathe deeply each and every day. It's part of why some people work out, because working out will get our lungs pumping. And, I've been trying to hike up a hill in these last couple of weeks, and it's like straight up and then around a curve and then even further up, and it is an opportunity to truly be practicing breathing, because we cannot be exerting that kind of physical energy without that deep breath, like all of the oxygen coming in and oxygenating our cells so that our cells are able to have the energy that is needed to take one more step forward. Our breath is so incredibly important. So for this experience right now. I'm going to invite you to get comfortable wherever you are. And you might want to try laying on your belly, or you might want to try laying on your back, or you might want to try just being in a seated position. Perhaps you are somebody who does a regular breath practice. Perhaps you are somebody who does yoga, which is moving our body and holding physical poses in order for the breath to move the chi, for the energy to be moved through us. It's a spiritual practice from the East, and it's not necessarily a physical practice. So that's how it has come into being here in the States. But if you're a practitioner of yoga, you especially know how important it is to be working on your breath. We don't hold our breath when we're trying to get into these crazy poses. We breathe into any tightness. So whatever pose or form or position you want to be in right now, we're going to breathe. We're going to breathe in and out, in and out. And I'm going to guide us for a couple of deep belly breaths, and then I'm going to invite us into the stillness and find that rhythm that kind of works for you, the pace of breathing that works for you. So let's begin. We're going to take a deep breath in from the belly. Hold it for the count of 4 if you can. And then release it slowly. Every time I do this, I immediately feel everything settling down on that exhale. So another deep breath in. Moving the belly out like it's like you're pushing your belly against your pants. You want that to expand. And then release. Let's take one more deep breath in. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And release. See if you can release for 8. And another deep breath in. Hold it for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And release for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I invite you to continue this pattern of deep belly breathing, holding and releasing. And I invite you to continue that pattern until you feel stillness within, until you feel centeredness. And when you reach that place of centeredness, if you want to allow that pattern to drop away and just be in the quiet, that would be exquisite. But every time you're feeling pulled off of that centeredness or any kind of fear, thought, anxiety, physical sensation taking place that's distracting you, then start again with the breath, the inhale, the hold, the exhale. You may want to take note of what you're experiencing within. If you are feeling any kind of constriction anywhere, if you can't get out of monkey mind, which is all the thoughts that keep on jumping, it's fine to have thoughts. Our brain was created to think. But in our time of stillness, in our time of pausing for peace, we don't want to cling to any of those thoughts. We want to just let them go. And so you might even be experiencing monkey mind, all those thoughts coming and going, the responsibilities, whatever it might be, and return to your breath. Take a deep breath in as if you're gathering those all up. Hold them. You might even visualize yourself holding all those thoughts in the palms of your hands, holding them as if cupped to release them to God. And then on the exhale, you literally let them go. They'll be waiting. What's important will be waiting when you come out of this pause. But the point of the pause is for us to get space in our brain and in our body from those continual, constant demands that really are not all that much of an emergency as we might think they are. So let's return to our breath. A deep breath in. The hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. The exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let any of it go. And breathe again in a pattern that feels natural to you. As long as it's not a pattern where you're breathing from high up in your chest. Activate the lungs all the way to the bottom of the lungs. Our lungs go all the way down to the bottom of our rib cage. Our ribs are the shield for these amazing, large organs that are within us. We have 2 of them. They have lobes or chambers. And we want to breathe all the way down into that deep last lobe of each of the lungs. That's what deep belly breathing can do for us. Let's do one more deep breath. The hold and the slow release. When you're ready, I invite you to bring your palms together at the heart center. Prayer pose, we often call this. And if you would give an expression of gratitude for your breath, for the reminder that you will not always inhale and exhale. There will be a moment when you too exhale for the last time, when you inhale for the last time, when this body that has served you and served you hopefully well in this life on earth will return to matter. And as James Finley reminds in a teaching on Teresa of Avila, James Finley says, and at that moment, at our final exhale, we will not be annihilated. The great consummation will take place. We will be fully enveloped, fully consummated with God, fully integrated with God. And so we trust that even in the moment of our final exhale, all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. Thanks so much for joining me. I want to leave you with this parting thought, a good thought for fall break, I think. I was given early in my ministry a little plaque. It was really like in my first year or two of ministry, a little plaque. And my dear friend, I keep it close. It's a plaque that says, it's like a to-do list. Things I have to do today, : breathe in, breathe out. That's all I really have to do today. It's a great reminder. I keep it close because everything else is a choice. Breathe in, breathe out. That's all I have to do today. Blessings, dear friends. I look forward to seeing you next week on Pause for Peace.